The biggest question going around town right now since WrestleMania is, when should Roman Reigns lose the title? When will it be the right time for Roman Reigns to put over someone? A lot of people feel that Roman Reigns should have lost to Cody. Cody should have been that guy at WrestleMania 39. A lot of people feel like it was a missed opportunity. People are saying that Brock Lesnar taking out Cody Rhodes is not only recycled content because he did the same to John Cena in 2012, but that it's bad for business because Cody's momentum has been derailed. I honestly couldn't disagree more. I think that if Cody would have won at Mania, and I said this in my predictions video, stream, and all that jazz before it even happened. I said, what comes after if Cody beats Roman? And Paul Heyman addressed it after the Roman and Cody match at Mania. He talked about it in an interview. He said, what will Cody do if he would have won? What story is there to tell after? Roman faced Brock Lesnar like 3 or 4 times at the very minimum before he actually beat him. And it still wasn't even a clean victory. So Cody, who I'm quoting the general comments online, Cody, who came back, won the Rumble in a predictable fashion because everyone online said so. A lot of people were calling it predictable. Yeah, I know. So you wanted the predictable winner of the Royal Rumble to have another predictable moment where you knew, you expected, and you wanted him to win? I said it before. I want it to happen when we least expect it. I did not expect Brock Lesnar bullying Cody in the ring in their tag match. I thought it was crazy that Brock Lesnar would be featured in a tag match on Raw, but I thought it was a cool build-up, and I loved the promos that led to it. But when I sat and really digested what happened, it was bittersweet. I wanted Cody to get that rematch. I hate that Roman is not at every show. I wanted Cody to have that WrestleMania moment for his family, for his legacy, hell, for himself. And it didn't happen. So it was bittersweet to see Roman win again, as much as I love Roman. But for me, I just quickly thought to myself, well, I predicted Cody to lose at Mania because I feel like there's a better story to tell on the other side. And Triple H talked about it at the press conference as well. He talked about it when they asked, when is it too late for you to put somebody over? When is it too late to have somebody beat Roman? And he said, look, if we didn't think there was a story to tell on the other side, we wouldn't have done it. And I'm paraphrasing. That's not what he said word for word, but that's what he was implying and suggesting. And I agree. I agree with Paul Heyman. I agree with Triple H. I agree with the creative decision to have Roman continue to be that guy. Now, if you ask me, Lex, do you think Roman should hold both titles? No. No. Flat. As much of a Roman mark or fanboy that I am, no. I don't think Roman should hold both titles. But I think it adds layers to the story. The fact that he's holding both titles and holding the main event, division hostage is now a story. And he is on an incredible run. And just like John Cena, who people call the GOAT now, I remember watching wrestling when John Cena was at his peak and dominating the show. People hated it, bashed it, and all the grown men that didn't like him thought WWE was dead and dying then. And now some of those people are the same people saying, I respect John Cena. John Cena deserves all the credit. John Cena is one of the greatest of all time. And guess what? You know why I know so much about that feeling? Not because I talk to every single person in the WWE universe or in the world in general, but because I was one of those guys. I didn't like John Cena in his prime. I didn't like what John Cena was doing. Hell, I didn't like Brock Lesnar either. It wasn't until Cowboy Brock, it wasn't until John Cena at the very end of his career, and now, that I actually enjoy what he's done and what he did for the business. So, I'm speaking from my own personal opinion and my personal experience with the product as a consumer. I'm not talking about who was writing the show, who was in control. I'm talking about who was leading the way. Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Roman Reigns, those guys. You may not appreciate the run that Roman is on right now, or may not care to appreciate it because you're quote-unquote bored and you want to see a new champion. But that's always been the case in WWE. It's like a double-edged sword. Because we know WWE is a written, produced product, we always want to see the next new shiny toy win the belt. In this case, it's Cody Rhodes. But I promise you, if Cody Rhodes would have won at Mania, plenty would have talked shit. We've seen it with MJF as champion in AEW right now. We saw it with Big E as champion before, with Kofi, with Daniel Bryan, and everyone else that has won the belt the second time, third time, or even the first time. Now, Daniel Bryan, that particular story was stretched out until they couldn't anymore. They prolonged it. But when he won the title again, some people called it boring. So the build-up is very, very important. The journey to get there. So like I said in my last segment, talking about Vince McMahon, let's be a little patient, man. Let's be a little patient. Bruno Sammartino was champion for about 8 years. Roman has barely been champion for 3. I promise you, Roman Reigns is not going to be champion for 8 years. So the Roman era will end sooner rather than later, because we're already at that point. But I don't want to rush the ending, bro. Roman took a while to beat Brock. I don't want him to be defeated easy peasy lemon squeezy. You know what I mean? So Cody doesn't need to struggle. Not every wrestler needs to struggle. But exactly, Hogan was champion for 4 years. So let's just wait a little bit. Let's see what happens and who ultimately wins the belt. What if it's not Cody? One of you guys said it best in the Twitch comments. What if it's Solo Sikoa? What if it's Main Event Jay? What if it's one of his own? What if it's someone else that we don't even see just yet? And then Cody wins it later. And he finishes the story later. Who knows? What we do know is this. Cody and Roman put on a classic at Mania. And I would love to see them fight and go up against each other again and again and again. We saw Cody face Seth Rollins 3 times in the main event, even at Hell in a Cell, with Cody injured, with no title on the line. Imagine what that's going to do for Cody against Roman, against the biggest guy in pro wrestling today. Imagine if Seth Rollins wins it. We just don't know. And I'm here for the ride. I don't want to rush to conclusions. I'm not blaming Vince McMahon. I'm not blaming anyone. I want to enjoy the story for what it is. Stop reading the spoilers. Stop clouding your judgment with false expectations. Stop. Enjoy the show. Wrestling back then, when the dirt sheets were on newspapers and websites that took 30 minutes to load up, weren't damaging the product like it is now. The product is being damaged by us, by spreading these narratives that don't ultimately matter in the grand scheme of things if we are still enjoying the product. So the Raw after Mania wasn't as great as we wanted it and expected it to be because they didn't have Jay White, Matt Cardona, Randy Orton, and freaking God show up. I get it. But they still had shocking moments. They still had heel turns. And they still had good segments. So let's wait for SmackDown. And let's wait for the future to see what's going to happen with Cody Rhodes. I promise you this. Before Cody Rhodes retires, he's going to be champion in WWE. There's just no way Cody comes back to WWE and doesn't become champion. It's part of his contract. I am sure of it. Look at all the fireworks. They saved so much on the fireworks just to give it to Cody. Don't tell me Vince McMahon hates Cody or that Triple H hates Cody. When Cody came back, the plan for WrestleMania 39 was instantly Cody versus Roman or Roman versus The Rock. The Rock dropped out, couldn't make it to Mania, and they did Cody versus Roman. Cody is a main eventer, and him getting beat up by Brock Lesnar is not as bad as people are making it seem. So hold your horses and strap up because we're in for a ride.